What'd you think when you first got word that I wanted you on the show?
I was down. I was with it. I was like, all right.
Let's do it.
I need to step out of my shell and, get to it.
Get to it.
Yes.
Had you ever watched one of these before?
Yes, I have.
Which one?
Of course, Kayvon. Off the top of my head, definitely that. So
course.
every now and again, I'll go your latest one. Breeze through that real quick.
Okay.
And just to see what you were doing, what you were up to. I'm here. I'm excited.
Let's do it. WBH Radio, your host, William Holly. Thank you for tuning in. We have a very special guest today, Miss Chandell Collins.
Yes.
Let me give the audience a little backstory. For the last couple of years, I've been coaching basketball, youth basketball in the city. And somebody that has been by our side every step of the way is the OG, Gary Baker.
Mr. Baker. Hey, babe.
And I love to pick his brain about any and everything, learn about him. And one of the fun facts I learned is that his young son, your young son, is being homeschooled.
Homeschooled.
I said, what? In our neighborhood?
Homeschooled. Never been into an educational institution.
I thought that was reserved for the lifestyles of the rich and famous. So I said, I need that story. Mm-hmm. And here is his mother, Miss Chandell Collins, who is also serving as his teacher.
Yes.
Here to discuss. Man, when did this first become a consideration for your family?
Actually, before I had him, I knew that my next child would definitely be homeschooled.
Yeah?
I was totally over the home educational system. So I knew that homeschooling him was something that I was going to do for my next child. Never second guessed it.
You have an older daughter?
Yes, my oldest daughter is 24.
Which high school did she go to?
In Maryland. She went to Largo High School in Maryland.
And what about that experience made you say, you know what, my next child is homeschooled?
She actually had a hard time with some of her teachers, knowing she was from Brooklyn, New York. There's this stigma. If you're from Brooklyn, if you're from the hood, you're automatically from the projects, low income, and the teachers would just always give her a hard time, knowing she was from New York. They would pick on her. In high school, in her junior year, that was the straw for me when she got into it with her English teacher.
Okay.
And English teacher was very impatient, didn't know how to talk to the students, and it was during testing time. Mm-hmm. My daughter had a question as well as the other students in the class, and she raised her hand. Teacher wouldn't call on her, kept looking over her, would answer the questions, of the other students, and overlook my daughter. So this particular day, several students had their hands up. And she called on one gentleman, and he told her there was something wrong with the question that was on the test. Long story short, my daughter said, well, I had my hand up first.
Right.
And you purposely looked at me, kept, looking over me and called on someone else. So she said, is it possible I can go and finish my exam in the principal's office? The teacher became irate, and one thing led to another. Words were exchanged, and my daughter told her she needs to learn patience. One, with dealing with students. She's a teacher, she's an educator. And the teacher told her that she needs to mind her business and talk to her politely. Now, one thing didn't have to do with the other, because she's referring to the question on the test. And they continued to argue, and she said, you know what, you need to lose your job because you don't know how to deal with students. The teacher told her she needed to lose her life. And it was
She said this to a junior in high school?
And it was recorded. The whole conversation, on video, everything. So, of course, Bakes and I, we went up to the school, and the ultimate outcome was she was basically forced into early retirement.
A teacher told a high schooler, your daughter, you need to lose her life.
Because she told her how she deals with the children, the students, is wrong. And the way she treats them, especially her. And she told her, she said, you need to lose your job. She said, how you speak to us, your personality in a classroom. As soon as we come in here, especially my daughter, she always had an attitude. And my daughter was all A's and B's. Right. All A's and B's, all A, B student. So there wasn't no reason for her to just single my daughter out for anything. And come to find out, it was basically because she was from New York.
Wow.
Other teachers, other students, other parents had problems with her, and for me, that was the straw. Amir, I believe, was 3 years old then, at the time. But I
And
knew
you said, I'm not doing
at that
the
time,
school.
it was a question as to whether or not I would send him to school later on.
Right.
But after that, I was like, no, we're definitely homeschooling, and we're going for the long haul.
Now, to take on the project of homeschooling is a big endeavor for a family.
Indeed.
What was your biggest reservations at first?
I would have to say I really didn't have any.
How about from his father?
No.
None?
There were none. There were none. I was already in the educational background. I decided to stay home and went and got my child care license. So I was caring for children at home, in my home. And it was something that I wanted to do and expand on. So as Amir got older, I stopped so that I can focus on him completely. Because I couldn't really care for him, teach him, and care for the other children in the home as well.
What is your background in education?
Just a licensed daycare provider.
Okay.
Just a licensed daycare provider. You don't have to have a degree in education. You don't have to have a high school diploma. You can homeschool your child.
Okay. Your young son, he was 3 years old at the time when you had that incident with your daughter. So would you say it was a matter of protection, choosing to keep him home?
Definitely. And on top of that, he's a black boy.
What other, expand on that, what other advantages were you seeking or did you consider when homeschooling your son, a black boy?
Well, first of all, the whole school to prison pipeline, you know. The situation with, how can I put it, law enforcement being incorporated into the schools. Black children are more likely to be reprimanded for small things such as talking, getting out of the seat, having to be diagnosed, or should I say evaluated, for ADHD or ADDHD. And majority of the times it's not even needed.
Right.
It's not needed. The children have no resources as far as playtime, gym and things like that have been taken away from them. And again, overall, my son is black. Nobody loves him more than I do. Nobody can protect him more than I can.
Right.
And that's it, in a nutshell, freedom.
All right. So your young son, it's time to go to school, right? Was it 5 years old, kindergarten?
Actually, he started in pre-K. So he was 4.
So tell me, what happens? He's the age that he's supposed to go to school. What do you do?
You have to get in contact with the school district and fill out what's called an intent to homeschool letter. So you fill out the form. If it's not a form, you can actually just write the letter and send it into your school district. Within a matter of 2 weeks, they will reply back, and you get the ball rolling.
And that's it.
That's it. Now, if you have your child in school, it's the same process. However, the 2-week process, they still have to be in school until you receive the notice telling you that you can begin the process.
So you get this notification back, I can homeschool my son now. So the city is kind of monitoring to some degree? They're aware that you didn't just not send him to school, like they're aware that.
Yes, they are aware. They are aware. You have to get in contact with the homeschool district, let them know that, they contacted you by letting you know that the homeschooling process can begin. So after that, you start.
Were you ever intimidated by this process?
Going in, of course, is scary because you don't know. But as I began to read up and learn things for myself, I was like, oh, I got this. I got it.
Walk me through his day. What's his day like? Your son right now is how old is he?
Amir is 10.
10.
He'll be 11 in a few days.
So that's like fifth grade-ish? Fifth grade?
Exactly,
Okay.
fifth
So
grade.
walk me through a typical day for young Amir, my man, young Amir Baker.
In most cases, he wakes up at 10 o'clock.
Okay.
First and foremost, he wakes up at 10 o'clock and gets his day started. I don't rush him. He knows what to do. He has his work planned out for him. If it's not, we have a system where we choose what it is that he wants to do. He's not confined for 7-8 hours throughout the day. He doesn't do any more And 4 hours, to be honest, is max. That's like taking it to the max, unless we have some type of project, art project, science project. But I also
4 hours
break
a
up
day?
4 hours a day.
Okay.
That's all that's needed. That's all that's needed. And then Amir is one of those children that if he gets it, move on. If he gets it, he got it, move on. You know, in a classroom, you can't do that with 20-something children. This is why the children get bored and they're in their chairs and they're doing this and they're getting yelled at.
Ms. Collins, 4 hours only?
Only.
Where do you get this curriculum from?
Everywhere. I get it from Barnes and Nobles, Amazon, eBay, thrift books, what is this? Backyard sales, thrifting, you name it. That's how I obtain my curriculum. Online sites, there's free programs. You honestly don't have to pay a dime to homeschool. There's so many free resources. If you choose to invest in curriculum, you can. However, there's free resources all over. If you work a 9 to 5, you can still homeschool your child.
I'm gonna ask this question, and it's rather ignorant because I don't know. How do you know it's the right curriculum that's gonna put him on track to be where I guess he needs to be in life?
You meet them where they are. You can see where they are. You meet them where they are. You get the curriculum that they're comfortable with. First of all, you have to find out your child's learning style. Okay, you have auditory, you have visual, you have the style of just reading and writing. You have some children who really learn just by reading and writing. Then you have those children who learn by visual and auditory, listening to a lecture. So there's different ways that children actually take in information, process it, and, you know, react to it. All children in the classroom is not the same. And I just mentioned 4 different learning styles. If you have all 4 of those different learning styles in a classroom with 23 children, and they all learn differently, that teacher that's at the board writing, basically auditory,
Right.
not so much a visual, because the only thing they're seeing is words and the letters.
Right.
But you have children that learn hands-on, they like to participate, and kinesthetic as well. You know, they like to actually be in the now. They want to touch it. They want to do everything. They want to explore. And it's confusing when you have so many children with different learning styles in one setting and one teacher. So, you need to broaden their horizons.
Does he have to take any state exams?
No, I don't do it. No. I give him a test to see where he is at the beginning and the end of the year, and we go from there.
Ms. Collins, how concerned are you about him, I guess, keeping up with kids in his age group that are in school?
He's actually surpassed children in his age group in school.
How do you know that? How do you measure that?
How can I measure it?
If he's not taking these same state exams that those kids are taking, how do we know he's
The
on?
state exam is nothing but the work he's done all year long. If he's getting it right during the school year, why do I need to test him? It's going to be the same thing on the test that he did all year long that we're doing every single day. Only thing I'm doing is putting him under pressure. You got that wrong. No, I don't test him.
Okay.
It's the same work that we do every single day. So to say, oh, here's a test, no. It's the same work that we do. Whatever it is that he does, if he gets it right, he gets it wrong, it's corrected. We rectify it, we elaborate on it, and we move on. And that's it. Again, we also use online sites. We use videos. If I come across something that I don't know, I'm going to look it up.
Yeah.
I'm going to find a video. I'm going to find whatever it is that I need to find to make sure that he's getting it and he's understanding it and processing it. But yes, I have nephews. He has cousins that don't know some of the things that he knows. Right. Being able to travel and go outside is an advantage. You know, he knows, more about different cultures than the average kid his age, because he's exposed. He's exposed, not just when we're home in Maryland, when we come back here to Brooklyn. We live in the heart of West Indian culture. So he learns a lot.
Yeah.
He learns a lot.
Were there any struggles for you personally in those early days trying to figure out a schedule, figuring out how to put it together, put his day together? Talk to me about some of that. Those early days.
The early days.
Because you on the flow now, but back then.
Let me see. The early days. Was there any struggle putting it? No. Honestly, shout out to my son Amir. I love you, baby. He's always been ahead in some way, shape, or form. He's always been, I would get him books. He would master them. He would do them. He would complete them. And that began to open my eyes and show me that, I can do this. And when I seen that he had a love for actually taking in the knowledge and processing it, and me being not just mom, but also his teacher, and the relationship that we built doing it, it was great. And I wanted to expand on it. And I asked him, once he got of age, I said, Mimi, do you want to go to school? And he's like, no, Mommy, I like this. I taught him early on. I showed him what school was about. I didn't hide it from him. At first, he was curious. He wanted to know, what was going on.
You asked him?
Yes.
At what age was he?
I still ask him. Kindergarten.
But could somebody say that he's too young? He doesn't know what's right, what school really is, or the advantages of going to school?
No. Well, I asked him, and he was honest. He was honest about his feelings. I said, okay, I'll ask him all the time. You sure you don't want to go to school? You feel like you want to socialize with children in school? He knows the meaning of socializing. He's like, I socialize. I get socialization, Mommy. I don't need to be in school with
How
that.
so? Because that is a question I did have for you. I reached out to a lot of teachers, and I said, I got someone who's homeschooling their son. What would you want to know?
A lot of teachers will say they don't socialize. First of all, they're in a classroom all day long for 7-8 hours. You get told, don't talk. If you get caught talking to your friend, you get told, don't talk, stop talking, you're in class. Be quiet, look at the board, do your work.
Teachers would say there's group assignments, group socialization in the classroom.
Mm-hmm. Yes, there is. Group socialization, but for the most part, when that's over, and the most part, when you're doing group socialization, that's what, 15, 20 minutes to get a project done, and that's it. The most they have to socialize is during lunchtime. We got that all day long.
So how does your son socialize with other kids his age?
Very well.
In what
well.
environment? Like where? If he's being homeschooled?
His cousins, we travel, homeschool co-ops. We join homeschool co-ops where he meets other children that are homeschooled in a home setting or, some type of facility.
Really?
And the parents come together. They teach different subjects. Yes.
Homeschool co-op?
It's called a homeschool co-op. Yes.
That's why we got you. That's pretty cool.
There's different avenues, different resources, a whole lot of different resources, So, yes.
That is something that's on your radar, the socialization.
I wouldn't say it's on my radar. I'm not worried about it because he definitely socialized.
It is part. Would you say it's important to a young person's development, though?
Definitely.
Okay.
Definitely. However, he gets to socialize with all different types of people, different ages. One of his best friends, his uncle, just passed away. Uncle B. God bless him. Rest in peace. He was a educator to Amir. The stories he shared, the things he would educate him, about. And he was very, very close to his uncle. People would think that's odd because of his age, but no. Uncle B was his best friend, one of his best friends.
You said that families, they can still work a 9-to-5 and homeschool their child. Have you worked during this process?
Yes, I have. And yes, I do.
Yeah.
Right now, I also work from home.
Okay.
So before that, like I told you, I had a child daycare running from home. And once I stopped that and began to homeschool him full-time, I started working from home, online from home. So it can be done. Even if you're leaving the house 9 to 5, it can be done. Small children don't need to be homeschooled for too long. Like I said, 4 hours is a stretch for me. In most cases, he'll get 3. You don't have to do it.
So when you were working, what would his day be like? Outside of the house, when you would go outside the house to work.
What was his day be like?
Yes.
When I got home, I would go over what it was that was given to him or assigned to him, or his big sister would go over what was assigned to him. If there was any big projects while I was away, she would help, do them. I come home, correct them. It could be done. It could be done.
It could be done. Let's see. I
Because we already homeschool our children as they're growing. You know, toddler age. We're teaching them the ABCs. We're teaching them the 1, 2, 3s, the basics, and it's just one thing next year, one to another. That's all.
So y'all reached out to some teacher friends.
And how do they feel?
One asked about possible biases being his mother. Biases in disseminating the information or priming the young student. Like, baby, we went over this yesterday, like perhaps giving answers or stuff.
Nope.
Is there a possibility that you may have a blind spot or a bias when it comes to rearing and educating your young son?
No, because I need him to be educated. Not falsely because mom is doing it and I want him to just get by. And no, not at all. I need him to know it. I want him to know it. He's going to know it. If he's not up to par, we're going to sit there and we're going to do it until he knows it. When he gets it, we'll move on.
You got it, huh,
Yes.
Ms. Collins?
Yes, very well. I'm doing the best that I can. I've been doing it. Well, I homeschooled our oldest until she was 5, and then she went to school. So she got 2 years of homeschool. And it was an experience, of course. But for Amir, I knew that I wanted to homeschool him.
What's your yearly calendar like? Do you observe the summer? Do you observe spring break? Like, what's that like for me?
Well, yes. When you homeschool, you still have to follow, quote unquote, the school calendar. So the holidays that they celebrate, you get to celebrate also. However, the difference is we don't have to be in the school, for his daily dose of education. He's still home. So the advantage is we get to travel, and not just run errands. We get to travel, as a traveling family. Of course, COVID has set things back a little bit, but, we are a traveling family. We like to have fun. We like to go to the museums. We like to go to the farms. You name it, we do it. So.
But in the summer, does he do like 4 hours a day, or you just hands off in the summer? Like when the schools are out, is Amir still learning or?
Oh, still learning.
All year
He's
round.
still learning. He's still doing work. Amir gets enough work done during the summer that I can actually complete a whole year worth of work. I still incorporate work into his daily schedule, but I like to make it fun. So he doesn't he doesn't feel overwhelmed. Like, Mom, it's summer. He enjoys it. He'll let me know when he's tired. And you're like, Mom, can I get a little break? That's fine. I give him a break.
You talked about that paperwork early on. How does the city or state monitor you, I guess, throughout the year or year after year?
You have the option to be under what's called an umbrella program, where they're basically monitoring you. There's someone above you monitoring you. I don't like that one. I don't want no one in my home telling me, what's what, or no. I get to choose the curriculum. I get to pick the curriculum. I get to meet him where he is, meet his needs, and work at a pace that's comfortable for him. That's about it.
Are there any financial resources for
No.
homeschooling?
No. It's some states, I'm not exactly which ones, some states give some type of stipend towards homeschooling. The state of Maryland, no. State of New York, no. It's pretty much out of pocket and free resources. Free resources. We learn every day, everywhere. There's a lesson to be learned. Trip to the grocery store, that's a math lesson.
How so?
How many did we get? How much does that cost? Add it up. Like, literally, that's a math lesson. Going to a restaurant is a cultural lesson. What type of restaurant did we go to? What meal did you eat? How was that meal made? And then we look it up and we research. Research. Oh, we are big on researching. I am the research queen. I am the absolute research queen. I always tell me research. Find out if it's true, if you want to know something, and Amir will ask you 11 million questions.
That's very cool. You talk about the math lesson going out it takes me back to your social media. What's your Instagram account again?
Mir's World 06.
Okay. Mir, MIRS_world 06.
06.
It's very cool. You haven't posted in a while.
It's been a while. Yes, we took a break.
Yeah.
We took a break. As a matter of fact, I'm creating some content and getting a few things together so we can come back for 2023. I'm glad you noticed. Thank you.
I'm locked
Thank
in.
you.
You posted something and he's like, you guys see kids cooking, but I just see education. They're measuring.
You see? You see? Do you see? Thank you. Thank you. There's a lesson in everything.
And that's what you also had to post about Black History earlier this year. Black History is King and Ivory Wayans. Like, we got legends walking among us.
Hey, we still talking about King. We still talking about Mary McLeod. But don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I get it. But that was then. This is now. What about our new history?
Yeah.
What about our new past history? Our past history, my generation's past history, those people are my history. I'm my history. Yeah. You know, you're my history. Yeah. So we have to move on and educate on, you know, our history.
And that's the freedoms homeschooling allows you to have. And you also had a post about the school to prison pipeline. Some would argue that structure is healthy, right? No? In some degree? You know, how do you balance the two?
No doubt.
Okay.
Structure is definitely healthy. And in most cases, structure is definitely needed. You know, we have to be able to operate. Right. You understand what I'm saying? And move smoothly. There has to be some sort of system. Right. But it's yeah. So
with me having kind of like a free flowing day, gets up at 10, 4 hours of schoolwork. He has his mom days in a comfort environment. Mm-hmm. Is that preparing him to go out in a world where there's a little bit more structure? You got to be like, your family's not there. Like, you got to go out there and perform.
Yes, and I tell them this all the time. Here inside, it's family, it's love. Out there, it's rough. Mm. It's rough. This is why mommy teaches you the way she teaches you. I'm not going to be here all the time. I'm not going to be able to hold your hand all the time. Mm. You know, these are things that I need you to know, lessons that I need you to you know, process. Mm. You know, look at Dad, look at Bubby, KV, love you, son. You know, his examples. Mm. You know, it's homeschooling is what you make it. Mm. It's not difficult to do. It's not difficult to do. They can call me, they can ask me any questions. To date, I am responsible for helping 23 families since COVID. Yeah. Homeschool, convert from either not being in school at all to starting homeschool or withdrawing their children out to homeschool.
Your phone was buzzing during COVID? People, they were more interested in homeschool?
My DMs, you name it, yes, everybody, because I'm an advocate for homeschooling. Yeah. I broadcast it. And once they pulled the kids out and were like, they're going to be home and mobile, everybody hit me up. Dell, what's going on? What do I do? And to be honest with you, I didn't have any answers for them.
Why not?
In the beginning. Because the public school system going mobile was something totally different than his. Mm-hmm. It's still structured under the public school system. You know, I don't know if you remember, but when they first put it out, it wasn't working. Mm-hmm. The kids had a hard time. Some kids couldn't log on, couldn't get the work done. Right. You have children that went from A's and B's to C's and D's. Mm-hmm. They didn't understand it. And me personally, I blame the New York City school system. Because a system like that should have already been in play. They should have already created it for the what if. The what if? It was thrown together at the last minute. Mm-hmm. It had so many glitches and, you know, but my way of homeschooling and the children's way of homeschooling at the time was completely different. Mm-hmm. So I told them if they weren't happy with the system, they could just pull them out and homeschool them themselves. Mm-hmm. They didn't have to be under a structuredized learning system.
Are you prepared for him to come to you one day and say, Mom, I want to go to school?
All day. All day. If he comes to me and says, Mom, I no longer want to do this and I want to go to school, I'll let him go.
How do you think he would fare in a classroom environment, in a school day?
He'd do just fine. Mm. Just fine.
Mm. Are you prepared to homeschool him through high school?
Yes, I am. Yes. Mm. Yes, I am. For the long haul. till the wheels roll off.
For the long haul.
Yes.
For the long haul. I've been working as a sub in New York City public high schools for the last year or so. I never thought I'd be here, but somehow I'm here working as a sub. When I left high school back in 2003, I thought that was the end of it. Mm-hmm. And I see a lot of good people in there trying to do good things. You know one person you mentioned, Bubba.
No doubt.
What advice would you give to those educators who want to do right by the kids and the families, do not want to contribute to this school to prison pipeline? What advice would you give to them?
The educators that do not want to contribute.
Yeah. They're in there working, trying to do the right thing.
It's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard for them. It is absolutely hard for them. I sympathize for educators. It gets worse and worse. You know, the children, the fighting, the disrespect, cell phones in the room now. Mm-hmm. It's hard for educators.
Yeah.
I get it. I see it. And a lot of times I use it as an example to show me where the educational system has gone. Mm-hmm. You know? It's sad.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. That's really it. That's it. I was working as a sub. I'm looking at these people. They want to do right, but the hands are tied. You know, when I went to high school, that was middle class. We came into buildings with values. Like some of these kids don't even have that.
No,
what these educators are asked to do is like they got to work small miracles day in.
And the thing is, right now, all these kids think they know everything.
Yeah.
They think that the internet has fed them all the education that they could possibly take in. They don't want to hear anything. I don't know. We have to do better, period, as a people.
Yeah.
And meet our children where they are.
Yeah. What else you got over there in that notepad? Because I think I went through everything.
Let's see. Okay, did we talk about school being created to produce workers and thinkers?
No, go for it.
Well, school was basically created to create factory workers. That's all it was for. To build this country.
Is that
That's
so?
what it was for, yeah. That's why it looks like prisons. It's a square within a square. And children sit in there all day long.
How does it train us to be workers?
They move when the bell rings. Mm-hmm. When the bell rings, that's when they move. You got to raise your hand to pee.
Ms. Collins, many people will argue that that's real life and it's preparation for that life. There's a structured world out there.
No, not even.
When you have a job, you got to be on time. You got to be obedient. You got to be disciplined to raise a family. Many people will make that case.
Mm-hmm. Which is true. And I'll argue it down. I will argue it down. I'm sorry. And then you have those children who they need to go to the bathroom, but they can't. And they end up peeing on themselves, or they end up walking out. And that's a reason for them to get sent to the principal's office. And then when they become emotional, law enforcement is called. And sometimes it gets to a case where they're put in handcuffs and arrested. Not all the time,
right.
But sometimes, you know. And for
Ms. Collins, controlling our emotions, isn't that something we have to do as adults and learn to do?
You have to. You have to, as a young black man, as black men, period. You have to learn how to be able to control your emotions.
So if schools enforce that, how is that a negative thing?
It's more than just enforcing it. It's a little bit more. First and foremost, the kids walk into the school and they feel intimidated because security is there. Now you have armed security. It's a lot going on for the mental. We create trauma in children more than we know by the things that we expose them to and the things that happen around them. It's a place where they're supposed to feel safe. They have to walk through the metal detectors. I mean, it's life, but times are changing. It's becoming a little bit more uncontrollable. More and more is happening. Mass shootings. My baby's safe. He can play. He can enjoy being a child. He can enjoy life. He can enjoy travels. He can enjoy family, all the while being educated. And I promise you, he knows just as much as his other 10-year-old counterparts, if not more. He's getting the same education. He's just not confined to a concrete cell all day long. Half of the children don't even go to gym anymore.
This is true.
They have no type of physical education, no type of, just all day, go to school, be tight, and then go home. Half of them don't eat the school lunch.
Yeah.
Most families can't provide school lunch to go with their families, with their children to school. So, they're stuck. They got an attitude. Their stomach is growling. And, I've lived it.
You describing my day as a substitute teacher.
So if you feel like that, imagine what the children feel like. We have to be easy and understanding on the children in the educational system. I know it's hard because you have children that will challenge you.
Yeah.
And be ready to fight, get in your face. Love on our babies. Love on them. Love on them. Let them know that there is an educator that's there.
Yeah.
Let them know that all educators are not the same. Let them know that what they see and how they feel, they're heard. They're heard. Meet them where they are.
You have a big responsibility.
Yes.
Your son's foundation is like in your hands. But as I say that, I'm like, well, should it be? But with his mother. What do you plan to do after he's through the educational system? You got any plans for yourself as career in education?
Do I have any plans for myself in career in education?
Helping these families figure out how to homeschool?
Definitely. First of all, homeschool consulting. If they have any questions, they can call me. I can help guide them. I can help them find out their state's laws, what to do, what's allowed, what's not, the Kumar laws, educational laws, what's to be followed. And to those that are homeschooling, don't beat yourself up. You have so many that are like, oh, it has to be this way, it has to be this way. It's called homeschooling for a reason. If your child is in school and you decide to homeschool and withdraw them, there's a process of unschooling.
Unschooling the stuff that they learned in school?
Right. Unschooling. Not unschooling the stuff that they've learned. Unschooling the style, the way of the educational system. Just to become more at ease. Not on a timed schedule. Not on a testing schedule. Not if you fail, you get this grade. Grades is basically, for children, it's like when they see that, it's like, oh, I did bad. And you have children that just do bad during testing. They will know everything, but when it comes to testing, that's it for them. Like me, math is my worst subject.
Right.
Absolute worst subject. And it will come to math and my hands will get clammy, start sweating, and, all of that. But Amir is great in math. He's absolutely great in math. He's in the 5th grade, and I'm not embarrassed to say, he's pretty much almost surpassing how far I've gone. Right. And people say, well, how do you do that? How do you do that? I have to research, I have to study, I have to teach myself and then teach him. But I have to teach myself first if it's something that I lack or a subject that I lacked or I don't know. So, yeah, and math is his strongest subject as well as science.
Did you go to school here in New York?
Yes, I did. I went to high school of fashion industries.
Oh, in the city?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, graduated from fashion industries and went to FIT for a semester. And shortly after that, I started doing childcare also here.
What was your experience like in high school?
Oh, high school was dope.
Yeah.
High school was dope. I went to high school for fashion industries. That was my passion. I loved it. It wasn't school for me. It was like me doing what I love, High school of fashion industries, that's what I went for. So, high school was fun. I breezed through high school. I did good.
What is Mir's aspirations? Does he talk about what he wants to do when he grows up?
A veterinarian.
A veterinarian.
He wants to be a veterinarian. We have a science lab downstairs. We have lizards and fish and turtles, hamsters.
Brownsville to hamster?
Brownsville all day.
I'm locked in, Miss Collins.
Brownsville
Come on now.
all day. That's what's up. But yes.
You have a hamster? What else you got down there?
Well, the hamster died. But we have our lizard. We have a leopard gecko. We have our turtle, and right now we have the 2 dogs. We had snakes. Those are gone, and the hamsters are gone. So
Again, learning opportunities.
learning opportunities. I grew up with animals, with pets. So I've always had them around. When Bakes and I got together, I pretty much got him, into the whole reptile thing.
Yeah.
I love reptiles.
How you feel about book reports?
I like book reports. I like book reports. You have to be able to read, understand, and elaborate, and put into word what you read. So I'm good with book reports. I like good reports.
What's on the schedule coming up? You guys got any trips?
We do not. It's a new year. I'm actually working on the website. I need to put some things up, and working out 2023 schedule. I have not scheduled anything ahead of time. We're going with the flow this year. Most cases we schedule, but we're going with the flow, doing something a little bit different. We'll see how that works. Scheduled a few trips, a few adventures, some museums, of course the games. Go see KV in the games.
I want to be homeschooled. It sounds like fun.
It's fun.
It sounds like fun.
It's fun. It has its advantages.
Let me make sure I got everything here on my list. Pedagogy, philosophy, socialization, pluses and minuses, state exams, curriculum aligned with college life readiness, self-management and independence, daily routine, parental bias, monitor their emotions in social setting, structure versus oppression, state exams, advice, social media, school to prison pipeline. I think we got it. Go for
There's
it.
something called game schooling?
No, what's that? Game schooling.
It is a system where board games are completely used. People think of, when you say board games, they think of Monopoly, Life, checkers. No, there is a whole world of board games for school subjects. And some people teach their children homeschooling
Via board game.
solely board games. And these board games teach every subject, you name it, it's there. So you have game schooling, you have world schooling. World schooling is basically traveling. Wherever you travel in the world, that's considered world schooling. So,
Dope. What about, he's still young, but like, you talk about being a black boy, and I'm a black man, and I'm learning that in these corporations, like, they not too kind to my type, so I got to be independent. Do you plan on instituting maybe some business and entrepreneurial
we're actually working
education?
on that right now. Yes, we're working on that right now. I do a lot of designing and things with my hands, and I have a lot of tools at home that Amir uses. Make a lot of T-shirts, as you can see. Amir does that. Some of my projects he does hands-on. So he's like, "Mommy, I need something for myself, of my own."
What?
And we're working on that.
That's what he says?
Yes, we're working on that. He wants something of his own.
That's dope.
He wants something of his own. So we'll see.
That's dope. Where can the people catch up with you, follow you?
Hey, man, you can definitely follow Mears_World07 on IG. And my email is mearsworld06@gmail.com.
Ms. Chandell Collins, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, Will. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm William Holly. That's WBH Radio. We out.